All right, and we're live.
All right.
What's going on, guys?
What's up, man?
What's up, Gene?
How you doing, buddy? I got Mr. Randy Utz and John McIntosh here. Thanks for being part of the McKenzie podcast.
Hey, man, we appreciate the opportunity, for sure.
Oh, no problem, man. No problem. It's been probably about a month since I've done one, but feels good to get back into the groove of it.
Nice.
Yeah, man. So, local realtors here in Calvert.
That's right. Yep.
Go ahead and give me a rundown on who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so obviously, as Gene said, I'm Randy Utz, and so we have a local real estate team in the Southern Maryland area, also Southern Anne Arundel County, 10 agents, a few admin staff, including Mr. John McIntosh next to us, one of our up-and-coming superstars. So we're a local real estate team. We work for our brokerage is eXp Realty.
Okay.
The name of our group is VR Group. Vicky, my business partner, myself, Randy, so comes up with VR, real original, I know.
Okay.
But yeah, we
Well,
focus.
I'm McKenzie Contracting, so
Hey, man.
I don't get too creative
Got the
myself.
same namesake.
Yeah.
No, so we focus on mostly residential real estate, but dabble in a little bit of commercial and some other forms. So
Cool. So mainly residential real estate.
yeah, for
Okay.
the most part, residential real estate. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
cool. And mainly in Calvert, or do you do like Charles, St. Mary's, Anne Arundel?
I say
Or like
like-
where's the focus of your business at?
I'd say about 80% ish would be about Calvert County, a little bit in St. Mary's, a little bit in Charles, and some Southern Anne Arundel.
Gotcha.
That makes up our the mix of our business.
Okay, very cool. And do you guys have like a brick and mortar location here?
We do. We actually just leased a place there in Prince Frederick, 708 Solomon's Island Road. So come visit us sometime. But
Okay.
yeah, we just established an office there.
Where's that at? What's a landmark?
Landmark. We're going to be on the backside of AutoZone across from Fox Run Shopping Center.
Okay,
The Giant and all that.
Yeah.
If you're local. So,
very cool.
yeah.
Not too many real estate agents or groups have brick and mortar like locations where you can walk in and talk to people.
It's nice to have one, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
It's good to have that feel, especially in this area where a lot of people still like that old school feel. You can kind of run in, talk to you, look your realtor in the eye instead of being online and zooming.
Right.
But we do all that anyways, but
Yeah,
it's nice to have a brick and mortar.
yeah, that's cool, man. So, is that a new thing that you're doing, the brick and mortar location? Or?
Yeah, brick and mortar. So we just got in there in the beginning of March. We're still doing a little bit of build out, still a little setup. We're waiting on some furniture and whatnot. You know how that's been delayed, and we should be up and running by probably mid-April, full open to the public mid-April, early May of 22.
Cool, very cool. And what's something that kind of open you up for? Like, you gonna have people there like office hours where people can just come and go, or is that just something where you can have like conference room meetings or?
All the above. So,
Yeah.
so we're going to have an in-house title company. We're partnered up with a title company. So we'll be able to host our settlements there. We'll have client meetings there, some events, some client appreciation events, things like that. And really, it's just a great place to have, kind of our agents, like, John and other agents on the team come in and we kind of collaborate. And it's just nice to
Right.
hear that, I guess, water cooler talk, office, just collaborate on some things, brainstorm, shoot some ideas around.
And we're already having like meetings there just
Right.
amongst ourselves. So
Right.
I mean,
Right.
moving forward, that's one of the big things that we're going to probably pride ourselves on is when we have clients and customers and things like that, they're never going to miss a beat, right? Because if I can't be there, I can't get something done, I can call Randy, I can call 10 other people. So it's nice that once every couple of weeks, we can all go sit in there just as us as realtors and talk about what's going on, what problems are you having, what's going on this weekend,
Right.
Hey, Mac's going to be out this weekend. Hey, you got an open house? Who can cover it? So it's nice to just be able to go and actually have a spot
Right.
where we can just talk amongst each other and then figure out how do we need to take care of each other to take care of the customer. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
that's going to be huge for us.
No, that's big, man. And like not even just for customers, but just for like in house with your people.
Yeah. That's
Just to have like that professional setting where everybody can kind of collaborate.
Bingo.
That goes a long way.
to the culture, the culture of the company and the culture
Right.
of the team. It's good for everybody to get together.
Yeah, man. So like like I was giving you a little tour in my office here.
Yeah,
man.
Like
Great
with the
setup.
conference table and stuff, and it's not a whole lot of us in the office every day, but it is nice to have that area where you can go and talk about bids, or you can invite customers in and be like, hey, come sit down in the office, we'll talk to you.
Right.
It's pretty cool. I feel like it sets me apart from like other contractors a little bit.
I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a mindset too. I mean, when you come in here instead of just doing everything over email, I mean,
Yeah.
that goes a long way with your employees. I mean, when they got that spot, we can actually sit in there and we can talk. I mean, got kids, you got kids.
Yeah.
You got to get in there and get into that mindset of we got a job to do, we got to help people out.
Time to go to work,
Yeah,
right?
it's time to go to work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I don't know if I could work from home
yeah,
all the time.
that'd be tough.
Right.
So
Need that separate atmosphere to kind of get in that mindset, like John was saying.
yeah, for sure. And that's cool. I think that's going to definitely set you guys apart from other real estate agents too. Yep. I don't know. Actually, I don't know anybody else that has that in the county. Is there anybody else?
Yeah, there's a few other teams in the area that have their own brick and mortar.
Maybe I'm just not familiar with them. But
no, it's few and far between. You're not off by any means. It's few and far between. So and that was one of the big differentiators that we kind of sought after, is to open a brick and mortar and really have that separation as far as people be able to come in and just see our sign out on Route 4, the exposure, all that.
Right.
So
yeah, cool. I think that should be good for you guys. Over the last few years, I guess how long have you been in the industry? For a while.
You want to start?
I've been in since October of 21. So
okay, so like
I'm green behind the ears, and
that's
but
right.
that's all right, man. We're hitting the ground running.
Like 6 months in.
6 months in, it probably took me about 3 or 4 months to get my license, but we're hitting the ground running, man. I got good people to learn from, so I ask questions to this guy daily,
right?
But he always has the answer.
No, and I love it, man. See, because I remember that when I was there. So I've been in the industry coming up on 8 years in October, and I am by no means, the industry expert, but in 8 years I've learned one or two things. So it's fun to mentor some newer agents, and John is just on a trajectory that's going to be phenomenal. We're super excited about what he's got going on, his energy, and that's everything in sales pretty much is energy.
Oh yeah,
and so he brings it every day, and super proud to call him a teammate.
That's cool. And what about you, Randy? How long have you been doing it?
So about 8 years. I'm coming up on 8 years in October. So
cool.
I was a solo agent for a long time, and then 2017, Vicky Horseman, my business partner, and I established the VR Group, our team, and kind of just went from there.
Right.
Yeah.
I know Vicky. I think she's been here before.
Yeah, she had. Yeah. She toured the property with a couple of other agents, and they had nothing but great things to say because you got a good setup here. I'll tell you that.
Cool, man. Yeah, very cool. And she's got some roots in Calvert too. For sure.
Local. Yeah, for sure thing. So Vicky and myself both. Well, I was a transplant, but I don't remember Prince George's County. I moved here when I was 4. And ever since then, I grew up in St. Leonard, and she's been born and raised St. Leonard. So,
very cool. Now, are you guys primarily buyers agents, sellers agents? How's that working in your industry?
So, as you kind of start out and you can talk to it, you kind of naturally progress or naturally get into the buyer side, just because kind of your network is ready to buy, depending on what age group, demographics, blah blah blah, so forth. But you kind of naturally start on the buyer side, and then you kind of evolve into the seller side. So at my point in my career, I'm more of on the seller side. Majority of my business comes on the listing side.
Okay.
But as you start out, you can speak to it too.
Yeah, that's 100% true. You're definitely going to start out primarily buyer. I'm a little bit different just because I started out as a first responder, so I have a different community that I can also talk to and help out. So obviously, being a first responder, people leaving the area, things like that. Right. So I have started off with a little bit more listing, but naturally you're just going to start getting your name out there. You're going to start getting buyers. And then later down the road, there's buyers when they move, whether it be their first home, their starter home, right? Hey, if you did a great job, I want to go back to Johnny Mac, and I want him to sell this house and sell me a new house. So that's when you start getting into the other side or both sides at the same time. So, but it just, it just takes a little time to establish that. That's all.
Yeah, very cool. But I guess as a group or in general, you take on both sides, right?
Oh yeah, we take on both sides.
You don't just pick. No, we're just listing agents or whatever.
No.
So
yeah, we do it all.
Okay.
Do it all. Anything with real estate, rent, buy, sell, invest, anything.
Okay. Very cool. The invest side. What's in that world? What's that do?
Personally, we got a few things in the works, but as far as clients go, we work with a lot of fix and flippers. That kind of deal. That's mostly our would you say bread and butter as far as investment side go. We have a few buy and hold type clients. Buy and hold, want to be landlords, want to have a long-term play where they rent out and base it on equity kind of a play.
Right.
So, but our bread and butter is kind of the fix and flips.
Okay. Yeah. Now, do you work with the buyers on that just financially, or do you work like actually providing contractors to do the work, or what's your role in that whole process?
So it's a little bit of everything. So, on the acquisition side where they buy it, we're kind of dealing with the foreclosures. We're dealing with the websites where you got to submit offers, and I'll stay out of the weeds. But, we're helping them buy it, at the low price, and then negotiating the best terms possible as far as, you make money when you buy it.
So you're basically partnering with the buyer.
Yeah, for lack of a better term. And then after they do the renovation, we're going to go ahead and market the property and sell it on the backside, and then on to the next project. Or
Gotcha.
if there are multiple projects at the same time, we're helping all throughout that.
Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's something that I didn't realize that. I mean, do a lot of real estate firms do that, or is that something that's like unique for you guys?
They will, but there's a certain niche to it. There's certain factors that go into it, and a little bit of experience that really goes into it to make it make it work.
Yeah,
if you will.
Because I feel like buying and selling, you can't really lose. You know, it's a pretty safe
play, right?
Pretty safe play. Like you're going to get your commission no matter what it sells for. It doesn't go for.
Right, but if you're looking at the eyes of an investor and you're telling them that
Right.
you're telling him or her that the ARV, the after repair value is $350, and then if the market stays steady and then it really is $300, that makes all the difference in the world. Or even $10,000 can make all the difference in the world. So you really got to be airtight on your numbers as far as what is this thing going to sell for after you fix it up. And we're also consulting. Hey, these finishes are what's hot right now. This is what you should do. You should make it a 4-bedroom because you're going to get X amount more. Those kind of questions, those kind of tips for them.
Yeah, for sure. And now when you guys do the investment work, are you guys involved with that whole process? Like what work needs to be done, what you should do, shouldn't do, like kind of give suggestions on that? Or
we sure do, kind of like your Bowie townhouse.
Right, and so the nice thing is if you're dabbling in investments, right? Because we do both sides, buyer and listing, we're listing so much, even if it's not investment, we kind of get this idea of what's hot right now. Like, it could be as simple as what's a good paint color to make this place look clean, bright, and big, right? I mean, it could be something as simple as that. So when you're listing more and more and more houses just for your regular buyers and sellers, you're going to pick up a lot of these things that are working in the market. So when you have an investor that wants to turn around and flip a property, you can kind of take those top 2 or 3 things in each aspect, if you will, to say, look, these are the things that are working right now for people that are just selling their houses regularly. These are the things that's going to work for you, for a buyer. So, I mean, just trial and error at that point.
It's trial and error and observation. So, you're taking to Johnny's point, you're walking through tons of buyers, on a weekly basis and monthly basis, and you're hearing, hey, this floor plan is not opening up for us. So, when an investor says, hey, I got this property with this wall in the middle, it's, built in the 70s, everything's separated out. Well, let's blow all these walls out if we can, put LVLs up top and make it all open, ready to rock, because that's what the biggest,
Yeah. No, I can see how that could be helpful to somebody trying to flip a place.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's something that I didn't know that you guys got involved in.
Yep.
Okay. Very cool.
It's a very fun side of it, too.
Yeah. What about like the current state of the housing market? Like, obviously, that's like a hard.
It's wild, wild west.
Yeah, man. It's kind of like
I want to see a realtor with a straight face when they're asked that question. Yeah. You find me that realtor, but it's wild.
I'm not asking for a straight answer. I just kind of I just want y'all's opinion on it.
No, absolutely, man. So, it's wild right now, and I guess to timestamp this, we're talking here in early April of 22. So in the past 2 weeks, the interest rates have gone up 1.5 points. So that changes your buying power, if you will, by 10%. So if you're looking at a mill, now you're looking at 900,000, right? Right. So that's a big difference,
Yep.
And so people are kind of back on their heels a little bit, but honestly, I mean, the demand is still there. It's insane still. There's no houses to look at, so a lot of people are going down the route of new construction or asking about it at least, and so that's a whole another animal. I think it still stays strong for the rest of the year, honestly, and I think rates, I'm no expert, no CPA or anything like that. It's no financial advice, but I don't think interest rates get above, I think they'll stay sub 5, maybe just peep over at the end of 22, so, that makes a big difference.
Well, that's relieving, because over the last month, you see the jump that it's done.
Yeah. Huge.
It brings a lot of uncertainty to a lot of people, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Just even builders, builders are like halfway through houses, and then people
If they
sign a contract for a certain amount,
right?
But then they don't know if they're going to be able to afford it at the end if the interest rate gets up high enough. So it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So I've had that conversation with a few people over the last 2 months, I guess.
Right.
Because we're building a new home. I did my 90-day lock, I guess, maybe like the first or second week of March.
Right.
And we'll meet the deadline. And I think I locked in at like 3.6 or 3.7. And the lender was like, dude, make sure you hit that lock. You gotta be
slam that thing.
Yeah, so we did that, and now looking at it, I'm glad we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's just a lot of uncertainty out there.
That's wild.
Let's talk about like the inventory of houses on the market right now. So I guess obviously there's a lot more people looking to buy than there are houses for sale.
Oh yeah.
So I guess why is that, and like, what do you think is the correction for that?
So buyer demand is not out of control, but if it's super high, for a couple of reasons. Millennials are coming off the bench, ready to do things. Now they got a good nest egg. They're kind of coming out of that college debt and getting to a place where they can afford it, if you will, with a lot of cash down. Because nowadays, closing help is the thing of the past, right? Any offer with a lot of closing help is, you might as well put it in the trash can. So, they're starting to get the cash. So it's kind of, I guess, timing a little bit, but the economy too plays into it. I mean, things are wild right now.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I don't know if there's really even a rhyme or reason. I mean, the world is just crazy right now. You know what I mean? It's just everything.
Yeah.
Cars. I mean, look at cars. We don't, you want to go buy a pickup truck right now, you might as well wait 20 weeks for that thing to come in. It's just crazy.
Well,
everything.
You should see big trucks.
Well, you got
like
I can't
Peterbilts and
imagine
stuff.
what you're using.
Shit.
Yeah,
I can't imagine.
You can't get them.
what's materials?
Yeah, so like they're not available, and they're like crazy more expensive than they were 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, that's kind of out of the question to buy new big trucks. Like,
Yeah.
Kind of everything with supply chain and some materials. I mean, cost of lumber. Bring your open check. Bring a blank check.
Right.
When you're talking about lumber, so I don't know. It's just a lot of pent up demand, and a lot of people are selling. People are in the catch-22. Also, this is another reason, catch-22. So where I can get top dollar for my house in the past decade, maybe 20 years, right?
Yep.
Where am I going to live?
Right.
On the flip side of that, where am I going to go? And there's no short term. The
In your
rental
in-laws-
market's
in
just
your in-laws' house.
Well, it's a little tight.
Yeah. No, I know people. I know friends that they sold and got top dollar for their house,
Right.
but now they're kind of stuck in limbo because there's nowhere to move.
rental market's just crazy.
Right.
So it's,
Yeah.
I mean, and I think it's also like a movement, right? So any little thing that started this, and you see people just selling their houses, you have X amount of people that were thinking about it for X amount of time, right? And now they're going, hey, the Joneses down the street just made $100K on their house, just figuratively speaking, $100K on their house. Hey, we've been talking about upgrading. Why don't we list this? So I mean, somebody knew somebody, and now we're selling. And I mean, even though houses for a buyer right now can be a little higher, you're selling your house, you're making a ton of money, and then like you said, you might be like, where are we going to go now? Are we going to spend a ton of money now for the new house? It's here or there. But, when the market was in '08 or whatever it was, when you weren't making a ton of money on your house, you were buying your next house cheaper.
Right.
So it's, like you said, it's kind of a catch-22. I mean, it's,
Yeah, back to your question, I guess, future of the market, and you bring up '08, it just kind of gives me chills a little bit. But it's in my opinion, and again,
Well, you weren't in the industry in '08.
I wasn't in the industry in '08, no.
You just hear horror stories.
But I did my research for sure.
Yeah.
And so, that was when, for lack of a better term, anybody with a pulse was getting a mortgage, and now mortgage restrictions and all that have been way tighter since then. That everything that came out of there was good from the mortgage side. So, I don't think that if there is I think it's more of a correction than a crash. People, you'll see in the media, it's a crash.
Right. So that was my question, right? What's the correction to the dilemma that we're in right now?
Yeah.
It might be a recession where everything kind of just slows down,
Right.
which I think it kind of has already, right? Because there's not enough houses to meet the demand. So that's going to naturally slow everything down.
Well,
right?
You would think, right?
You would think.
So in the housing
But I've been busier than ever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like,
so these are the anomalies, right? You're like, okay, so logically this makes sense, but now I got, the listings are getting 10, 12 offers, 20, 30, 40 grand over asking price, and it's just bananas. And then, in your industry, you're getting, how many bids a week, requests for a week, and you're just out of control, busy.
it's crazy.
So.
And then you talk to builders and they're like, the price of everything's up, lead times when everything's up.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, but people are still doing it. Like, they're like,
No problem.
fuck it, we're going to keep doing it.
Yeah,
I mean, just see
right.
what happens.
Yep.
Ride it out.
Back and clack, just rolling, man.
So, I don't know, man. I mean, and I feel like everybody across the board, whether you're a contractor, real estate, a buyer, a seller, everybody's like, man, this is kind of funny. Like, nobody really knows what's going on.
Right.
But it's like,
When does it end? Like, it's almost like you're anticipating somebody to just jump through the door right there and go, all right, it's over.
Right.
It's kind of crazy. But I mean, again, over the winter, I just got my license, so I'm sitting there going, okay, I'm a new agent. Things are looking great right now. Is something going to happen as soon as I get licensed? And people are, oh, it's going to crash. It's going to. Here we are. The market's still doing the same thing it was. It's slowed a little bit, but it hasn't taken some drastic turn from what I can see.
You said you did your research for '08. Yeah. Did it happen is there a day in 2008 where it happened?
Oh, well.
Or is it just was over the course of 2008, everything just got really bad?
It was kind of the course couple of years, like leading up to it. You kind of saw the bubble, if you will, kind of expanding, then it finally popped. But you don't really see that here. I mean, you do see a lot of increase in pricing, and everybody's equity's super high. They go up. But again, the mortgage industry is put things in place and put rules and regulations in place where it's not going to be as devastating, if you will, as '08, and I don't even think it's going to be close. So it's just a correction, as we were talking about before, and it's probably needed because it's going to alleviate that that pressure on pricing, right? The upward pressure, and it's going to just kind of even out. So I guess I'll get it on camera, kind of even it out. So as interest rates rise, rate prices are going to come down. It's economics 101, and I think it's going to alleviate all that pressure for buyers to I got to put all this in, and I got to give away my no inspections. I'll pay $10K over asking straight cash. I'm not worried about appraisal, things like that. And some of those are not advantageous to the client and things that we train our agents not to advise. I mean, you should at least get an inspection, even if it's what they call, as is with the right to terminate.
Right, but you just need a list of what.
You just need to know what you're diving into. Are you going into cold water, or are you going in hot water, right? Is it all good? Yeah, you just need to know at least. So it'll alleviate some of that wild stuff that's going on right now. And I think it's probably a good thing for the market, if you will. But, we'll see. Time will tell.
So, hypothetical.
Yeah.
If you had a place right now that you could either hold on to and rent or sell it in today's market, what would you do?
Ooh, that's dependent.
Yeah, I mean that's I could tell you a personal.
Because that would be me. That's going to be me in about 4 weeks.
Right. So I mean,
I'm in my house now, and I'm going to be moving into a new one. Not really in a spot where I need to sell my current house, but I could make a lot of money on it in today's market.
Do you want to be a landlord?
Probably not.
Then you might as well sell it. It's a good time to get out. Now, if you held it for another 10 years when the market comes back around, all that, and so on and so forth. I mean, just by playing inflation, you're going to get more. But again, money won't be worth as much as it is now. So, the true question, my advice would be: do you want to be a landlord, or do you not want to be a landlord?
Yeah.
Fix a tool at 3 a.m. It's up to you.
Yeah, no, I'd pay somebody to do that.
Well, you know what I'm saying, but get the phone call, whatever. You can delegate that out.
Yeah, right. So
it's just going to be one more thing on your plate now.
Right.
I mean, that's a tough question. That's personal. I mean, and then your area, where are you at? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
That's
no,
tough.
it's something that we've been thinking about for a while. So I don't know. We'll see what happens in the next few weeks.
Well, let me know. I know a guy.
Yeah. I heard you, bud.
Shameless plug.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So I think that's really like just what everybody wants to hear from talking to a real estate agent. Yeah. I'm sure you guys get them phone calls all the time.
Oh, it's every day.
Like,
how's the market?
Yeah. How's the market? What's it going to do?
Yeah.
You think I should do this?
Well, it depends. Are you buying, selling, investing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
So the difference. The market's good for somebody at every time, right? 08 was good for somebody that had deep pockets and could buy all those foreclosures up, right?
Right.
That was a good time for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Just depends on what your situation is.
I mean, do you see it being like a 08 type situation in the next year or two?
I don't. I think foreclosures go up, but not unbelievably like they did back then. But again, no crystal ball.
Right. Yep. Yeah, that's what I think. My lender told me that a few times. No crystal ball. Like you get into the process, and then, if it takes 8 months to build a house, well, 5 months later when you're ready to sign on your permanent lock, it's like, well, I don't know where it's going to be then.
Right. 3 weeks ago, did you think it would go up 1.5 points? You know what I mean? Like, I'm happy for you locked in what you did, what you mentioned earlier. So
yeah. So, yeah, I think we kind of timed it right. I hope. So we'll see what happens. But I know because, Johnny Mac, you're in a spot where you're getting ready to start building.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that has to be a conversation with you and D. I mean,
I'm hoping that it gets to a point where we started late enough that this happened right before the build started, that rates kind of taper back down a little. I don't know.
Right.
It is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. I mean, and that's another thing is like, everybody's situation is different, right? So even though it might not look practical with the rates and things like that going on, we were in a house with 3 bedrooms to include ours. I've got 2 little girls and a son.
Yep.
Guess what? It is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just got to do it. So, I mean, sometimes you just got to throw away the numbers and you just got to make it work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we just did it, and I just keep my fingers crossed that somehow I get some crazy awesome rate, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, man, that's all you can do, really. I mean, it's out of your control at this point, right? Like, you already made the leap of faith.
Yeah, we're here now.
you're
We are knee deep in it.
Right.
I wake up to breakfast with the in-laws. I'll be doing that for about 10 months, and
Well, you've got cool in-laws, so that helps.
I do. He was my middle school teacher, so that's a little alarming. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Your sex ed teacher.
Yep.
That's funny,
Having
man.
flashbacks.
So tell me a little bit about like your first responder program. Like, I saw you did like a Facebook thing or like a little ad on that.
So, and that's more so a lender's program, but just me being a first responder, I've decided to, I guess you could say, partake in that. It's a lender that we do work with, and we work with multiple lenders that we try and, depending on what their specialty might be, depending on a certain person's situation. But specifically for first responder, the reason that I got into it is obviously because I'm a first responder. And they do have some good benefits, and they can kind of go over that list. But we have an event coming up in April 21st at Heroes Pub. So we have that going on. But, I mean, they're helping with, like, closing assistance. There's warranties available, things like that. Right. And that's for, police, fire, nurses, teachers. So it's not just your typical first responders, military. I was in sales before I was a first responder, and so I dealt with first responders on that side, and then I became a first responder. And for what some of these guys and girls do every day, when you're making a big decision like buying a house, building a house, selling a house, I think it's really cool to be able to have that trust factor, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's important for everybody. But when you're out there every night or every day and you're doing some of the things that some of these people are doing, putting their lives on the line, I think it's really cool to be able to help them out. And it's really cool for me to just be like, hey, man, or ma'am, or I do what you do, right? I go through what you go through. I'm out there at night too, and we can kind of have that personal bond. And it's not just, hey, sell my house. You know what I mean? So, there's some really cool benefits out there. Like I said, it's Direct Mortgage is the lender, and they can go over all that stuff. I can get them in touch with them, but I'm really excited about it, man. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's definitely a niche I think that is going to be beneficial for you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I think is that whole niche thing, is that like a real estate thing? Like, is that what most people try to do? Like, because I know certain people that get into, like, they help the ag community, right? Like buy and sell farms or farming land or something like that. That's kind of like their niche.
Right.
Is that something that real estate agents try to do when they get into it, or?
I guess you could say that somebody might get more comfortable in sales. Like, when I'm selling cars, I might be more comfortable selling trucks because I know more about trucks. But I don't know necessarily if there's a niche. I just personally, because of my background, right? So
it made sense for you. Like,
it made sense for me. If I had only done car sales before this, then, I would have a bond with car salesmen. But, I have a bond, I think, with any first responder that comes in, and I get to help them and take care of them on a personal level. So, I guess it's probably personal to each, but.
No, I'd say when you start out real estate, you're kind of the jack of all trades, trying to be the jack of all trades, right? Yeah. And then that's, if you stay that way long term, then you're never going to be at the top of the market. They say the riches are in the niches, however you want to pronounce it. But really, when people that bear down, and sometimes you kind of not fall into it, but your experience, like Johnny was mentioning, first responders, that's his background. He can relate to them. That's kind of what you fall into, or it's a stage of life you're in. You're going from the starter home to the, putting your family in the nice neighborhood that you want to be in, where it's all great and playgrounds and whatnot. So once you niche down, I feel like you work with the clientele that really matches your personality, and you can better service them, and it also leads to a more lucrative career, if you will. So
very cool. And I've just noticed, as like an outsider, just knowing real estate agents, I've kind of noticed that, right?
Right.
Like, because I hunt and fish and everything, and on the Eastern Shore, you get guys that, hey, we just sell hunting property. That's it. That's all we do. And then if you're in the market for like a piece of like wetland, a sitka deer hunt on the Eastern Shore,
Right.
I'll call this dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
He's your guy, right?
He's your guy.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
So that's his niche. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty neat. So I didn't know if that was like a industry wide thing, or if just certain people decided to just like lock in on that. But yeah, I think the first responder thing would be good for you, bud.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I mean, it's and it's a crazy world right now in that in that business too. If I can call it a business. So, any shed of light that we can put on that and help them out, and I'm a first responder. I bought a house. I've sold a house. Well, this guy was my agent right here, so that's why I'm here. But, yeah, man, that's a big stressful decision, right? So let's not add to the stress. I mean, you've got a guy now that's on your team that's doing the stuff you're doing, and I'm here to help you out. I'm going to help out anybody, but for those that are out there probably in the middle of the night doing it, yeah, let's help them out. You know what I mean?
John is your guy, right?
That's right.
Yeah. What about like marketing yourself, right? And like not only you personally, but like Randy, you with your team, your group. I mean, what do you guys do to kind of promote yourselves, put yourself out there? I mean, do you pay for like advertising, or just do the social media stuff, or how's that process work for y'all?
Kind of everything. So obviously you can't talk about marketing without talking about social media, as you know.
Right.
We do paid advertisements on social media. Mailer. Some of the old school mailer postcards still apply, right? So people want to see different mediums of marketing, and you got to hit them on every single aspect to be truly effective. Now back to your niche statement. When you niche down, you can kind of tailor that to if you're only working with audiences that are mainly on social media, well then you're going to allocate most of your marketing dollars to social media. Now if you're working with different markets that are more, a handwritten note goes a long way. You got to hit them on all fronts, and you just got to be
millennial versus boomer, right?
I don't want to call it out, but
it's funny though, because
true,
like even that baby boomer age group, they're on social media, dude.
Oh, it's huge.
I mean,
Facebook is
they're
big.
there.
They want to see everybody.
My dad's playing music now on his phone. And it's crazy to watch. I mean, you knew my dad. It's wild.
So you got him on all fronts. It's top of mind. Like we always talk about in the office and trainings, it's top of mind. And we had a conversation before the podcast started. It's about top of mind. Every time they see McKenzie contracting, it's just another impression on their brain. Whether you can't really monetize on what this touch did.
Yeah, man. This podcast thing, my ROI on this, there's no way of knowing.
How you gonna track that?
Like I'll never be able to track that.
Right.
But you put it out there and people watch it. And,
right.
Like the whole networking thing, like y'all's people watch it, my people watch y'all.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. You just got to invest a little bit of time and effort into putting it out there. Right. And
it can't hurt.
Can't hurt nothing.
It can't hurt. I mean, if we never did this today,
right,
nothing changes, right? But if we do this and one person watches it and goes, hey, you know what? I like that guy, Johnny. I'm thinking about selling my house. And maybe I'll do that. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's it. That's what it's all about. Belly is still a big thing, too. Now that we're kind of out of the pandemic thing, but that's a huge, we trained to that, too. And
what's that? Say it again.
Belly to belly, just face to face, whatever you want to say. Just going out there networking, shake a hand, and talk to somebody.
Yeah, man. And I found as my company grows, I found that like my job becomes more of that, right?
Right.
Because I'll send like an estimator or a salesman out to a job, but people want to meet me, and I'm like, well, but I can't be everywhere all the time,
right.
So it goes a long way, like to be, like say I go to like a golf course or a bar or whatever. And then you're just talking with people, and then you're putting yourself in front of them, and they are happy to talk to you. They have questions for you, and it goes a long way. Yeah. So you definitely, and I have to start making more time in my schedule to do those, those like type of events, because you get so caught up in the day to day of just trying to like keep everything moving, that like shit, I'm not going to the golf course today. I can't go do that, but I do. So now I'll actually I'll be a sponsor of different tournaments and stuff, and I'll go down there. There'll be a McKenzie sign. I'll play golf with people, and it goes a longer way than me sitting here like sending invoices for the afternoon.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's definitely. I don't think that's dead at all.
No.
So
you never know what
big pillar.
You never know what conversations are going to spark. I mean, we live in a pretty awesome community, right? It's very small. Right. Everybody knows you. I went to high school with you. I grew up with you. I mean, a lot of people know you. So somebody that hasn't seen you in 10 or 15 years, or same thing with me, hasn't seen me in 10 or 15. Since we've started this, and I've started trying to market myself and my name out there, I've talked to people, whether it be on Facebook or whatever, that I haven't talked to in years. Right. And it's pretty neat to just reconnect with somebody that I might have known from 6th grade at Plum Point. You know what I mean? So you just never know walking on that golf course, you might just hit 10 balls in the woods and never talk to anybody. But you might run across somebody. Hey, man, how you been? How's everything going? Oh, I got a business. I mean, you just never know where that's going to lead. You know what I mean?
Right. No, for sure, man. It's going a long way. And same with the other social media, like marketing. You throw something out there and then a lead comes in, and then, like, that ad turned into a sale.
Yep.
Right.
For a certain amount. You're like, okay, well, just from that one, it's worth it. You know what I'm saying?
5 minutes to write a caption and put a picture up, and you made X amount of money. So
that's right.
You never know what's going to land and what's not.
Yeah. Now, is that something that you guys kind of compete with, like, other local real estate agents on, or other groups, or?
I don't know if I'd use the word compete, but
or, like, I guess, do you kind of, like, watch what they're doing and you try to get, like, a step ahead, and, like, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like it's like your industry is a lot like just trying to be out there and put yourself in front of people more so than the next one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure thing.
you want to be the first one that they, on Google, if they type in Calvert County real estate, you want to be at the top of the page.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's all dollars. There's a whole strategy to it.
The
more dollars you can spend, the higher you go on the click rate and all that, and advertisements and whatnot. Now, as far as like competing, or
I don't want to say competing. That might not be the right word.
Sure, or just putting yourself out there on social media, right? Like you want to put an authentic self, and we had this conversation too. Putting an authentic self out there, like in Johnny's first video, he said Johnny Mac, and I said that's beautiful. Don't say John McIntosh, because when you introduce yourself in real person, you say, hey, I'm Johnny Mac. And that's how I knew you. That's how I knew you. I met you back in the day. And
it's weird hearing my full name. I mean, when you said my full name, I'm like, Gene's never called me that.
John McIntosh.
Just trying to keep it professional.
Yeah.
No, I get it. But you kind of say yourself. So now it's like Johnny Mac's and real Johnny Mac selling out. You know what I mean? It's not. You got to separate yourself, and it's all just your personal style and authenticity. Where you accelerate, or you excel, I should say. Yours, because I was like, I've never met you. This is the first time I met you in person, right? But I knew who you were from your videos and all that, and that's how the clientele sees too, right? They kind of have a sense of you, what you're going to be like when you meet them.
Man. I mean, shit, dude. I've gotten to the point now where my YouTube page has enough videos of all the services we provide, where, like, if I have a salesman out selling a job and pull up the video, man, show the customer right there, dude. Like, and then I'll be like, dude, text them the link to the YouTube channel. Just be like, hey, look through that tonight and let me know what you think. We'll be back.
I mean, that's perfect.
You'll call me back.
Yeah.
And how great is that? Because not only are you saving time going out there to meet them, right? So now you can work on that business, go out, shake more hands.
Right.
And it's more effective. Visual is always more effective. Video is everything nowadays. So I can't harp on that enough.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, it's important. And I mean, I've said this previously too. I mean, this isn't what I excel at, right? It's not what I enjoy doing day to day.
Right.
But it's that important where I know I got to put the effort into it to do it.
Right.
And I think y'all realize that. It seems like you do. Well, you're here, obviously.
Right.
So you realize it enough to be like, yeah, we got to spend a little bit of time doing that, So
it's definitely, I think it's a necessary evil, right? Yeah. I don't even know if that's the right way to say it, but I mean, everything's social media now. Business, it's just everything is on social media. Everybody is on social media. Yep. It's just like another form of communication now. It is what it is. I don't think there's any stopping that. So, and I think you just reach more people that way. Right?
Pound for pound,
Right. Even people like you just said, you've met a lot of people in Calvert County since you've grown up here. There's no way in a single day you're going to talk to all of them. You know what I mean? No. So, yeah, it's huge, man.
No, and the community we have here first of all, it seems like Calvert and Southern Maryland, for the most part, is pretty well off, right?
Right.
Pretty stable, a lot of government, a lot of military. Right. So that helps. Right. Like, the whole COVID thing didn't do anything to my business. Like, we just got busier, to be honest with you. And knowing people in the community and then having the referral business and stuff like that has gone a long way. Yeah. Like, personally, I couldn't do what I do in Annapolis because I'm not part of that community. I'm not part of that group up there. You know what I'm saying? But down here, like, I know people that play softball in St. Mary's, and they're like, that something at the softball field needs to be done where they give my information. It's an easier group for me to kind of navigate.
You're ingrained in the community.
Right. So I feel like it should probably be the same for y'all too.
Very much. Very much. I mean, you can speak to it too, but a lot when you first get into business, as we were talking about earlier, you're kind of on the buyer side, or whatever side you're in. But a lot of your first business come from what we call the sphere of influence. Right. Your friends, family, all that. Hey, John's in real estate now. Call him. Right. Okay, there he is, your first deal.
Yep.
So. I mean, I'm not going to take my test, get licensed as a realtor, and then the phone's just going to start ringing. I mean, I didn't start getting into that till 3-4 months after I got my license.
Right.
So I mean, it was a process. But the first thing I'm going to do is call all my buddies, all my friends, all my family.
You called me.
Called you, talked to you. Hey, man, this is what I'm doing now. No expectations of anything happening soon. Let me just talk to all my friends that are in my phone. It was that easy. Grab a pen and paper. Let's talk. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, you're right. I mean, and it does help that, I mean, same with him. Grew up down here for the most part. I left Prince George's County too at 4 years old, but don't remember that. But yeah, I mean, you meet so many people down here that eventually that name is going to get out there. And I mean, I appreciate you having me because this is a huge part of me growing in this business.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just started, so this is a huge way to come out there and let them know, like, hey, this is what I'm doing now. You have questions, help, here I am. Give me a call, you know?
Yeah, that's what it's all about, man. And this has kind of gotten, now I feel like I've been consistent with it long enough. I kind of got to stick with it, see what it becomes. But then after like 2 or 3 weeks go by, like shit, now I got to schedule a podcast. I got to make an effort to keep it going.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it's worth it. I mean, I don't know. I guess as far as like my business and my industry, let's talk a little bit about how you guys utilize contractors on what you do. Because I do get a lot of calls from realtors that say, hey, man, I have a client that needs this done or just needs an estimate on this.
Right.
And we'll provide that because I'm licensed and insured. Like, the estimate that I send has those license numbers, which give it a lot of credentials, right? But if I feel like the real estate agent isn't always part of that decision-making process, they're just like, hey, call this guy, and they'll throw it to their customer, kind of like a referral type. Is that kind of like the extent of how you guys are involved with that, or?
In most cases, I'd say. So,
Yeah.
so let's talk about a typical transaction, right? Just buying an existing home. In this area, most of them are on septic. So you get the house in a contract, you go into inspections. After inspections come back, the reports come back. You got items 1 through 9 that you want repaired, right? And then it's usually you have to get 9 times out of 10 you got to get a licensed contractor. So then we got to go out and the first question from the client is, hey, you know a septic guy? Do you know a person that does drywall? You know a person that does electrical? So we got to have a Rolodex of 2 or 3 deep on each trade.
Yep.
To be able to present, and it's their call who they want to call. Now, we can obviously coordinate and we go above and beyond if we need to. Well, usually we do, but and help coordinate that and get them out there and get the bids and everything like that. But at the end of the day, it's their decision. Okay, McKenzie's bid came at this, and that sounds good. I'm going to go with them.
Yep. So put me on that Rolodex, man.
Yeah.
You're on there.
Because I do. Like, I have a relationship with some realtors in the county that, it doesn't always evolve into something, but it's like they at least give it to them, and then if they don't do it right then and there, it always comes back around.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
If they decide to move in, they're strapped on cash, they're like, well, shit, maybe in a few months I'll get that done.
Right.
So, that's good to know, man. And then what about y'all's relationship with, like, home builders? Are you guys tied in with any of the local builders down here? Like where, you know what I'm saying? Like where they might build a home and they need somebody to sell it, or how does that relationship work?
We're still on the custom level right now. They're
Okay.
the bigger track home builders. We haven't cracked that egg yet. But at some of the custom builders, we do have some housing packages on lots that we come up. A client will have, like, say, Johnny want to sell his lot. We'll put a house package on it. Basically, be like, this. We'll have a local builder price out a house package. This is a 3,000 square foot random on a basement, blah blah, and then we'll just market that way. But as far as the big track builders, that's an egg we're working on.
Yeah. Okay. And then the custom builders, you do have that in there with a couple of them.
A handful. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Cool. I feel like that's a steady flow of new homes that are being put in the market. So.
And back to a little bit earlier, in this market, there's no existing houses to buy. So everybody's like, okay, do I just buy land and then build? Well, that's a whole nother animal. You got to advise them on and pull in the right players, including yourself, and talk about all the different rules and regulations and the county rule, permits and all that stuff. So that's a whole nother.
There's a lot of moving parts in that.
There is.
And I didn't even know about that until I started going through that.
Right.
But
you had to learn real fast, buddy.
Yeah. But
I
mean,
there's
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's true. I mean, right now there's not a lot out there. So you have a lot of people that are sitting here contemplating this. I mean, we've had text messages and conversations about, well, this is what we wanted, but what if we do this now, right? And it's a possibility. Sure, we do it, but like he said, there's a ton of moving parts, and that's where. But that's where things like these relationships come into play. I mean, I think we talked about it. I think you said it downstairs, man. You need to have good people around you, right? And so if we can recommend good people like you or other people that we work with, that's huge for helping direct that person, and then everybody's happy, right? Everybody wins here. You know what I mean? So
yeah, for sure. I mean, that just building that network is just critical.
Huge.
That's right. In our two industries, in our local market, I think reputation is, I mean, that's business in general, right? So if I'm going to say, hey, call G McKenzie, I'm hanging my name, my reputation on the job, the service you provide, right? And so if you have good relationships, to Johnny's point, if you have good relationships with contractors, then it makes all the difference in your business and their business.
Yeah, for sure, man. And sometimes I hate giving referrals, because they come back to bite you in the ass, man. Like, damn. So, that's happened to me only a couple times, but because I'll do a job for somebody and they're like, "Well, do you do this?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." But call this guy, and then it'll just like fall to shit. And I'm like, man, now I'm involved.
I'm on the hook, right? Now I got to make this right.
Right.
Never done that in my life, but I'm the bad guy. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. And I'm sure y'all get asked that all the time too.
All the time.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, that was all the questions I had for y'all. I mean, do you have anything for me or anything y'all want to touch on before we wrap it up?
Oh, I mean, I just respect the business and kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit about your culture and kind of how you've gone from starting out to where you are now, which is I see your trucks all over the place. Yeah, man. So it's funny. Like I've been in business since 2015. Right. So 7 years now. So the people all the time, man, people are like, Gene, you've grown so fast, you're doing so much. I'm like, well, yeah, dude, but I've been working 7 days a week for 7 years.
Right.
Like it's fast. It seems fast to you. It don't seem so fast to me.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. It's not an overnight success. I've been doing this for years, right?
Right. So, it's just funny how people, and I think because I started doing the social media thing and all that, people now are noticing it.
Right.
It popped. Yep.
And I'm like, well, I've been doing it for a while, but you're just now seeing it.
Right.
Or at least that's how I think that they're seeing it. I don't know.
I'd say you're right.
Yeah, so it's working out because the bigger you get, the more you got to put yourself out there, right? Because you hire more people, buy more shit, you just need more work. Yep. So as long as the work keeps coming, I'll be fine.
You'll be all right.
Right.
It's calculated risk, right?
Yeah. So. Yep. But yeah, man, I think it's putting an emphasis on this and like the whole marketing aspect of it has helped me kind of get away from the day-to-day operations.
Right.
And I couldn't do that until I got good people, like good foremen.
Right.
I got a salesman now who knows what he's doing. I have an estimator who does a good job. So it's allowed me to kind of focus on this aspect of it. So, and you can't focus on this until everything else is running smooth.
And that's a big jump, too.
Right.
That's a big jump to kind of stop working in the business and work on the,
Right.
So.
Which that was the goal, right? It sounds like
like
a Dave Ramsey quote there, or
every podcast you want to
every
talk about
podcast you talk,
right?
leadership and all that shit. Yeah,
right.
I listen to all that. Yeah. You try to. It's just easier said than done,
Yeah. And you never are, right? You really never are. That's the kind of stuff wakes you up in the morning, in the middle of the night, and like, shit, is that done?
Yeah.
But you got to trust your guys, like you were saying.
Yep, for sure. So. Yeah, and just like you have to build a good team. And like Johnny, you put yourself around good people, like good support. So I mean, it's just just a huge part of it.
Yeah, man, it's all growing pains. It's a process. I knew it wasn't going to happen every night. You know what I mean? But I mean, luckily, we keep talking about the community, though. I mean, I was lucky enough to be able to grow up with a lot of pretty awesome people. I mean, I knew him before I started this, even before he helped me buy my first house or sell my first house. We always joke and say we were drinking buddies. But no, I mean, I was in the car business. I met him. So, boom, there was a friend that I could kind of relate to, and I can talk to him, and it wasn't like just strictly business, right? We could talk about this thing, and I got a great opportunity with him, and just other people that I've grown up with. It's awesome to see them succeed, like yourself. But those are just more people that going down this road that I'm trying to go down now that's going to help me. Hopefully I can help them. If I can put somebody's name out there and help them succeed and see somebody that I grew up with just kill it, man, that's awesome to me. If I can go into any post and see that somebody's looking for a contract and I can put somebody I know, or I can put McKenzie contract and I can help you guys, boom, that's awesome. So, but in turn, I think that's going to help me because, it's, like you said, it's just a huge network. So I'm super excited.
Pay it forward. Sure thing.
Yeah, right on, man. Well, I appreciate y'all coming on, man. I think it's been a good talk.
Yeah. Appreciate you having us,
Thank you,
man.
Gene.
No problem, man. Look forward to working with y'all in the future.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Man.
All right, guys. Appreciate it.